Alright guys, today we're going to do integer operations 6 NS5. We're going to be on page 27. Remember, at any time throughout this video, you can pause and rewind so that you can catch up. Alright, integer operations. Today's date is 11/28/18. 6 NS5. Your focus question: how do you solve problems involving negative numbers? How do you solve problems involving negative numbers? Alright, today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting. And the weird thing about adding and subtracting is when you're adding, you're kind of like subtracting, and when you're subtracting, you're kind of like adding. So that's why I'm teaching them together, because really it's kind of, they are each other. Alright, so last year I taught a song to my students and they seemed to really like it. It's to the tune of Row, Row, Row Your Boat. It goes, same sign add and keep, different sign subtract. Take the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. So I'll sing it for you one more time. Same sign add and keep, different sign subtract. Take the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. So when we're adding and subtracting numbers, we're really just going to look at the sign in front of the numbers. Not so much necessarily are we adding or subtracting. We're just looking at the sign. So let's look at this first example. We have -5 plus 2. So it would look something like this. Okay? So what we're going to do is what I've done right here in the picture, is you're going to put a box around the number and include the sign that is in front of the number. Now sometimes you're going to run into a case where there's not a sign right here in front of that first number, and that's okay, but make sure that you have a sign in front of your number. So same sign add and keep. Well, do we have the same signs? No. Different sign subtract. So I'm just going to subtract these two numbers and I get 3. Then it says once you subtract, you take the sign of the higher number. Okay, so between these two, which one is the bigger number? Well, the 5 is the bigger number. So I am going to take that sign that is in front of the 5 for my answer. You can also work it out on a number line. Start at -5 and you're going to add 2. So we go 1, 2, and we end at -3. Alright guys, here's another example. -5 minus 2. So once again, we're going to put a box around our numbers. Same signs, so we're going to add them and keep the sign. So 5 plus 2 is 7, and our sign is negative. So we have -7 as our answer. Pretty simple. Alright, there is one rule right here that you're going to have to memorize. When you're subtracting integers, you cannot subtract a negative. You must add the positive. Let me read it again. When subtracting integers, you cannot subtract a negative. You must add the positive. Alright, so let's look at a couple of examples. Say I have 8 minus a -4. Alright, do you see these two negatives that are pointing to each other? That's what this means. You cannot subtract a negative, you must add the opposite. So I'm going to take this and make a positive and a positive. So plus a positive 4. So 8 plus a positive 4 is simply just 8 plus 4, and you get 11. Let's look at another example. Negative 14 minus a negative 10. Well, you can't subtract a negative. We got those two negative signs right there. So we're going to make them positive. So now I have negative 14 plus a positive 10. I'm still going to put boxes around these numbers. So I have negative 14, positive 10, opposite sign. So I'm going to subtract and get 4. Which one's the bigger number? That's 14. Take the sign, which is negative. Alright, here are just a couple more examples for you, and I do want to mention in that last problem, I did write 11 instead of 12. My mistake. But look over these. We have a negative 7 minus a negative 18. We get a negative 25. This one's like the other one. You can't subtract a negative. You need to add the opposite. And this is what happens when we add two opposites together, negative 2 and positive 2. We are going to get 0. Now, I would like for you to copy these down in your journal. When you're finished, you can complete your homework. If you finish your homework in class, you can get on Moby Max Math. You probably want to pause this video so that way you can write these problems down in your journal.